Okay, hi all, good morning. Before we proceed, any question on the topics which we have discussed so far? Any question, any confusion, any new scenario which is coming to your mind? All good? Okay, my voice is audible and my screen is visible, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine, perfect. So far we are discussing about the extraction layer of ETL, okay? Because extraction, your data cleaning activities and many other things are done in the extraction. Then we'll move to transformation and then loading part. Why extraction is important? Why we are giving more stress on the extraction? Because this is the root or the beginning phase or the initial layer. If the things are not perfect here, you know nothing will work on top of this correctly. Whether it is your reporting layer, or you want to share the data with some other team, or your visualization or data analyst or any other thing which works on top of data will not give you the expected result. Okay, so that's why in any project, any ETL project, extraction is very important, and most of the challenges are faced during during extraction. Because you have a lot of interactions here, you have to identify the sources. Okay, first of all, you have to identify the sources of your business, and that is what the expertise of business analysts comes into picture here. Okay, because many a times these days the business stakeholders, they are expecting business analysts to share their thoughts, to share some good suggestion from their past experience. Okay, so that is what you have to understand, the domain in which you are working, whether it is finance domain, insurance, life sciences, or energy, or whatever it may be. Okay, so that is what extraction of ETL is very important part. So far, we have seen that extraction, we can have data from multiple sources, like yeah, like here as well, you can see we can get data for a particular business from multiple sources. Okay, whether they can be in flat file, or they can be in some database, or unstructured or semi-structured data. We will discuss all these things, what is unstructured, semi-structured, and structured data. Okay, so this is what the first step of any ETL project is, the extraction. Okay, the same thing we have. I think this is duplicate slide. Okay, so this is what extraction we have seen so far. Okay, so this is the best diagram to understand the extraction part. You can have multiple sources with multiple formats of the data coming from source system. Okay, and you should know all those things, the what all validations you have to perform, because this is the door or the area from where the data is getting injected into your system. If this is not good, okay, the conditions, the filters, all those things are not good here, so that bad data will spoil all this transformation or the engine whatever you have created. And further, your visualization or machine learning algorithm or artificial intelligence algorithm or the inside data insights, they all will not give you the expected result, guys. So this is the flow in any ETL project. Okay, so far we have discussed this. Now, apart from this, what we have seen, what we have seen is that when you're getting data from sources, okay, multiple sources, so what all validations you are supposed to do? Okay, what all validations you have to do? Okay, so we have seen that first of all you have to
Hello.
Yeah, hello, any doubt, any question? Yeah, so first of all, we have seen that you have to count the source files, that if you have 5 sources, then you must have 5 source file. Even if one file is missing or you're getting one extra file, that is an issue. And what are the consequences and what you're supposed to do there? Okay, that's the first thing we have discussed. The flat file, the format of file is very important. If it has been discussed that a particular source will send you data in .csv, then they have to send data in .csv only. The source team, the source system, they cannot change the format of the file randomly. If there is a need because of some reason, then that must have to be communicated to the development team and to the business analyst, and that must have to be mentioned in the FRD as well. That is very important, guys. Okay, so this is what we have discussed so far, the count of file and the file format and all those stuffs. File format we have done. Then we have seen the rows count, right? The count of records in a file and the header and trailer, that must be same. If that is not same, then it means a particular record is missing, or maybe you have received an extra record in that particular source file. Then variance check, we have discussed that if any particular column value, mandatory column value is missing, then what you have to do. So in certain projects, you have the concept of variance check. This is not mandatory. In some of the projects, this can be zero. Variance check can be zero. It means that even if a particular record is having null value, we will not accept it. Reject that file and request the source team to send a new file. Okay. So this is what we have discussed so far. Any question? Okay, no questions. So this were the assignments we were discussing yesterday. So I think that was in an Excel sheet. So we have discussed question number 1, question number 2, and question number 3 was pending. Okay. So what is question number 3? Let's try to understand this. Mr. Evin is working in an ETL project and has observed that in a particular day, data in one of the mandatory column is missing in a source file. Okay. So Evin is doing validation at the source at the extraction layer. And in the source file, what he has observed that the mandatory column, a particular record is missing. Okay. So what should Evin do as part of loading data in a stage table? So what should Evin do? That is the question. So the first option is Evin must not load as mandatory columns are important from business perspective and can issue incorrect result on report. So this is an ideal scenario that if you have any mandatory columns, so data must be present in those columns. If the data is missing, you should not load it. That's the first thing. Okay. But in some projects, if you have the concept of variance check, then you have to calculate the variance. Okay. And then you have to check if the variance is less than the variance value, then you can load it. Else you should not load it. Third option is Evin must not load the data as the project has zero variance check on mandatory values or columns. That is what I have told you right now, that in certain projects you have the concept of variance check is equal to 0. So if the variance check is 0, it means you should not load data even if a particular record is having null value in the mandatory columns. So that is why all of the above options are correct for this question. Any question, any doubt, any confusion here? Any question, guys? Is this clear? These are very important from data cleaning activities. You should know all these things, what happens in an ETL project. Yeah, question please. Okay. Now moving to the next question, question number 4. Which of the following validations must be performed on source files once received from the source team? So when you're receiving source file from the source team, what all validations you have to do? Do you have to do this count of source file? Is this required?
Yeah, required.
This is required, right? We have discussed
Yes.
this in this mandatory validation sheet, right? That these are the mandatory
Yes.
checks which you have to validate the count of source file. If the count of source file is not same what was expected, then what are the consequences? What can happen? If the count of source file is not same, suppose you have 5 sources, so you're expecting 5 source file, but you have received only 4 source file. What would be the negative consequences of that?
Data will come incorrect.
Incorrect data.
Missing data.
Missing
Yeah.
data. It means you
Yeah.
have not received data of a particular source system, and ultimately
Yeah.
the data is missing. Okay, so if you have missing data, what will happen? What is the problem with that?
Uh, First of
Uh,
all,
It will reflect in report side. It shows incorrect data, incorrect report numbers.
first
Okay.
of all, we should only extract whenever we are getting all the source file.
Hmm. Correct. So the ideal scenario is if you have 5 sources or 10 sources or whatever number may be, you should receive data from all the sources. This is the ideal scenario in any ETL project. Okay. If you have not received data from all the sources, and if you are still, if you will load the data, so it means you have incomplete data. Guys, incorrect data and incomplete data, they both are different. Try to understand the difference between them. Okay. And if you're going to work in an ETL project, and if you're going to face interview, these are the type of questions which will be asked. If you want to work in any project related to data, whether it is data engineer role, data developer role, architect role, analyst role, tester, or business analyst, data analyst, anything which is related to data. So these are the common things they will ask you in the interview, because this is the roadmap, right? If you know how to drive a car, but if you don't know the path and all those things, so that is of no use, right? So your understanding of SQL, understanding of Python or Power BI or R language, these are the skills. But where you will implement these skills, so that is what this is the roadmap you have to implement here. Okay. So that is why please understand this nuts and bolts and screws of this ETL. Okay. So that is why that is very important. If the source files must be same what was expected, the number of source files must be same. Else, if you're not receiving the expected number of source file, if it is less than that, so it means you are showing incomplete number on the report. Okay. And hence your business stakeholders will make some bad decisions. And that is why the reconciliation comes into picture, which we will discuss down the line. So count of source file validation is very important. And again, I'm repeating, this will not be done manually. These all are automated. So nowadays, you all will be hearing that automation we want, automation we want. Why? Because if you have automated all those things, maybe through Unix shell scripting or Python scripting, whatever you want, so everything will be automated on a daily basis. And suppose of on a particular day, if you have not received the expected number of source file, that automation script will fail and it will generate an email. And from that, you will automatically come to, you will understand that there is something wrong with the number of source files and you can take action as per the requirement. Okay. So now the second thing is file naming convention. My bad, I have missed L here. Is this important? File naming convention. What is
Yeah.
this?
Yes, without file naming convention, it will not extract. Means it will not select the file.
Correct. File naming convention is very important. Suppose the daily restaurant, they are sending me file in this format. Okay. And on a particular day, by mistake, what happened? They missed I here and they have sent me in this format. Okay. Now, what is the problem with this? What is the problem, guys?
It will throw an error.
Why it will throw error? You are correct, it will throw error, but why and where?
Because I is
Well-
missing.
Ah,
while loading the file.
correct. While loading this file, while extracting the data from this file, this will throw error. Why this will throw error? Because in this script what we have used, okay, you can see here, this is the one, right? Yeah. So this is script what we have used to load data. I think this is the one. Yeah, the script which you have used to load data, and this is script when you will implement all the business logic. So finally what this script is known as?
Job.
Job. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you will implement all the business logic in this script, then it will be known as job. And then you will run this, and all the data loading activities and the transformation logic, the business logic, the functional checks, everything will happen. And that is the core engine of any ETL project. See, so you have written that so here what you are mentioning, that in E drive, in this ETL training folder, in this subfolder, and again in this subfolder, I have a file with this name. So you are telling to SQL engine to extract data from here. Now if you will run this, let me run this file. What is the error message? This file does not exist. Correct? This file does not exist. Why? Because here you have changed the file name, and that is why the system, the SQL engine cannot search for this file. So that is why the naming is very important, guys. And this is very basic, you all will understand. So file naming is very important. These all points which we have collated, which we have gathered here, this is based on our experience which has happened in different projects. Okay, that's why this checks must be there. And this is the first question if you're going for interview. What are the validations you are doing in the source file? Because generally, if you're working in data project, you will do validations at the stage layer, integration layer, access layer, and all those things. But very minimum effort is given on the source file. So these are certain things which you should check. Hidden trailer we have discussed, variance check we have discussed. Now after this we will discuss completion of file download, but before that I was discussing this assignment. So file naming convention is very important. File header and trailer we have discussed day before yesterday, that header and trailer must also be same. The number of columns what is required, that should be same, even if it is more than the expected number of columns, or if it is less than the expected number of column, your job will fail and will throw error message. Okay, so all of the above is the correct answer for this question. Any doubt here? Question number 4, is this fine? Is this clear to everyone?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, so now 5th question is, job must fail if the count of records in a source file does not match with the trailer count. Okay, in a source file, the job should fail if the count of records is different than the trailer count. Okay, first of all, let me repeat this. Already we have discussed this, but let me repeat this again. Suppose this is my source file of the Delhi restaurant. How many records are present in this source file?
2.
2. Always count the number of records with the data only. Don't consider the columns or the headers. This is not considered in data. Okay. So here you have 2 records. Now suppose the end of file, this is also known as trailer. This is showing me information 3. So it is indicating that in this file we have sent 3 records, but actually how many records we have received? 2 records. So what is the problem here?
1 record is missing.
1 record is missing, right? So in this case, what should be the behavior of your job?
Yeah, job must fail.
Job must fail. Okay.
Fail.
What will happen if the job will not fail? Suppose the job will not fail, then what is the problem with that?
Again, incomplete data, right?
Yeah. So if job will not fail, so what will happen? This data will be loaded in your stage, correct?
Yes.
Now you know that some data is missing. So ultimately you are loading incomplete data in your stage, and same data will move to integration layer and to access layer and to reporting layer. So finally on reporting layer, you are showing incorrect numbers. So that is why the job should fail. I will tell you one more advantage that why the job should fail in these scenarios. Because if the job will fail, then an email will be triggered to the support team, and then they can take some immediate action that okay, the job has failed. So what is the reason? They can do some root cause analysis, and accordingly they can fix the issue. But if the job is not failed, how you will come to know that what is the problem? Okay, so failing a job, don't think that's a bad thing. No, if the job is getting failed, that is a good thing, because that is indicating you that there is something wrong in the system. Please rectify it. Correct? Hope that is clear. So job
Yeah,
should
clear.
fail if the
True.
source file does not match with the trader record, so that you should be intimated and you should take some action accordingly. Now, this was the very important question. 1 minute, my laptop battery is running low. Let me charge it. I think because of Diwali, we have less attendance. Sorry, because of Holi, we have less attendance today. I totally forgot it. Okay, okay, fine. So where we were? We are talking about this scenario as a data analyst. Fine. So okay, I will share one experience. Couple of days back, one of my student in that SQL batch. Okay, he asked me that he had attended an interview for data analyst role. Okay, and then he has shared some questions with me that okay, Tanvi, this were the questions which were asked in the interview. And how they have asked the question is generally what happens in SQL interviews. They will give you a create a statement or insert a statement, or they will give you the table structure, right? Right now, they will show you a table structure, some data will be there, and then they will ask you to write a query. But in that scenario, what they have done, they have given a source file. Okay, I will share that with you. I'm not sure where that I've kept. Okay, they have shared a source file with him. Okay, and that file was having data, and they were asking to generate a query from that source file. Okay, and that file was having a lot of records, and that was about the car, that was about something about environmental issues. Okay, and they have asked to calculate the value for that. Okay, so what I want to highlight here is now the companies, the organizations, they are looking at you that are you able to handle source file or not? Correct. So they will not give you the structure of table and all those things. Okay, can you tell me the reason for that? Why they're not giving the structures nowadays? Anyone who knows this? Any idea, guys? Yeah, this is the file, world indicators. Let me show you this. So this is the file they have shared with him. Okay, this is something about CO2 emissions. Okay, and the question what they have asked, I remember the question. The question was the percentage of CO2 emissions from Europe. Okay, and this was the source file they have shared. Okay, this was I think .csv format and all those things. As I think good number of records were there in this source file. I think how many records? 181 records were there. So now they will give you this source file. They will ask you to load the data and generate a query and all those things. Okay, so that is why understand the behavior of source files and all those things. So the last question is, as a data analyst, you are calculating the year-over-year increase in profit and organization. Hope this is clear, how to calculate the year-over-year increase in profit or revenue or asset or liability. Many other things are there, okay? But you observe that the profit has decreased significantly. What might be one of the possible reasons for this decline in profit? What might be the reason? Who wants to answer this? Why do you think the profit has decreased significantly?
He might have missed one file,
Missed one file. Okay.
source file.
Okay. See, here the profit has decreased. Many reasons might be responsible. Maybe the business is not performing well, or the sales numbers are not good, and all those things. Okay. But if you think from ATL perspective, so you should not rely on that. That okay, maybe the business is not performing well. You should check your ETL pipelines as well, that maybe if you have missed some significant data, some significant numbers. When you work on the inclusion and exclusion rules in ETL, we will discuss that what is inclusion and exclusion rules. So we used to exclude some values, some numbers by mistake. Okay, maybe we don't have the clarity of the business. Okay, and ultimately that hits the profit number or the asset number. Or sometime the source file what you were supposed to get, see, we have not received that, and you have not validated, and you have loaded the data. So these all things will happen. The numbers on the reports will not be correct. Okay, and then you will be searching for that, where the issue is, and all those things will happen. Okay, so missing numbers, so incorrect numbers means something is missing, some data is missing. So you should check your entire data pipeline again. Any question on this assignment, guys? No questions. Okay, fine then. So let's come to our this mandatory validation part. What all things you should take care when you're handling with the source file? Variance check, completion of file download. Any idea what is this completion of file download?
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, can you just tell what will be like variance check in the bulk insert? That query you have written, how we can variance check in that?
variance check in which one? Sorry, Shivanshu, can you repeat?
That query you have written, no? Bulk tally file. Yeah, yeah, here, how will like variance check here?
No, here you don't have to do variance check. See, here you don't have to do. Variance check means you have received the source file. Okay,
Yes,
suppose this is the
yes,
source file you have received. Okay,
yes.
and in this source file, suppose revenue is your mandatory column. Okay,
Okay.
suppose revenue is your mandatory column. So if I'm telling that revenue is my mandatory column, so I must be having some data in this column, right? Because
Yes.
this is mandatory column.
Yes.
Now, suppose on a particular day, here the revenue numbers are missing. Okay, revenue numbers are missing. Now, what should I do? In this case, ideally I should not load data, because in FRD this is mentioned that revenue is a mandatory column, so value must be there. This is the first scenario. Second scenario, you have to check the variance numbers in your project. Suppose if your project is having variance check of 20%, assume it. Okay, your project is having variance check of 20%. Okay, suppose this is a number.
Yes.
This will be defined by the business stakeholders. You should not define it. Neither BA will define, nor the developers, the testers, nobody can define this number. This will be totally defined by your business. Okay, they will give you this number. Now here, how many? So now here just you have to calculate simple percentage. That's all. Now here total how many records are there? Total records is 2, right? Now, how many impacted records? Impacted record means in how many records you don't have that value. Only one record I don't have.
Yes.
Only in this record I don't have value. Okay. So now calculate the variance. Variance percentage. This is also known as variance check. In some project, this is known as threshold check. How you will calculate the variance percentage? A simple percentage you have to calculate 1 into 100 divided by 2. So this will come across 50%. It means in 50% records, the mandatory column is missing. So now if this number is greater than the number set by your business,
But
you should
yes.
not load data. If
Okay.
it is less than that, then you should load data. Okay, that is the variance check.
So let's suppose we are having the 200 record, and in one of the record we are not having variance check. So how will we check manually, like that out of 100 record we are not having variance check in one or two record?
Okay, so suppose you have 200 records, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. How many are the impacted records? Impacted
Uh,
record means those records which don't have value.
yes, yes. Two.
2 records are
Hmm,
impacted. Okay.
hmm.
Now you calculate the variance. You will apply the formula 2 into 100.
Okay. Okay.
divided by-
No, sir. I mean to ask, like, here you have like manually seen that only one is impacted record because you're having the two record.
This thing.
My question.
Okay. If the question is that how I can find in how many records null values are there, so you have to use those Unix commands for that. Obviously,
Yes,
this will not do this manually. You
yes.
have many Unix command, awk command you can use. Okay, many other Unix commands are there. You can use that and you can check it. Yeah, of course,
Ye-
you will not going to do this manually.
Yes, out of 100, na, I cannot like do manually, na, scroll the page and
You
all.
don't have to write. See, these are the few commands like which I have, which means while working on multiple projects, I have gathered this command. These are the frequently used commands in any ETL project. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe like we will discuss this separately. Okay. Like you can see awk command to print
Okay.
first and second
Okay.
column of a file. Okay. So you can use this awk command print $1 $2. This is the file name. Okay. Similarly, many other commands are there, and this is very sensitive language. Sensitive in the sense, suppose this echo I have written in lowercase. If you write this in uppercase, this will throw error message. This is a pipe command here. So it means the output of this will be routed to this command, and then this command will work. Okay. So yeah, obviously you should know some basics of Unix scripting. Okay, that is required. Okay. Any questions, Shivanshu? Is this clear?
No, thank you. Clear.
Any other question, guys? Okay. So fine. So after this, we have this completion of file download. What is this all about? Completion of file download means suppose you have received that many times it happens. You are loading a file from internet. Okay. And you will go to the download folder. You will see something like CR download happening, right? So it means that file has not been downloaded completely. Okay. Still it is downloading. There might be a number of reasons why still it is taking time to download. Maybe the network is not good, or maybe the file is very huge, or many other reasons might be there. Okay, I'm not going in all those technical aspects at why that file is getting time to download. Okay. So in that case, suppose if the file is still downloading, okay, and you have run your job to load data, what will happen in that scenario?
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, sure. I'm telling that you have received a source file from the source team, okay, and still the file is downloading. It has not downloaded completely. Still, it is in the process of downloading, okay. And then you have run your job to load data, okay. So what will happen in that case?
Sir, we cannot run the job till the download is complete.
No, but manually you are not running the job. That is scheduled. Yesterday I have discussed about the control M. No, I've shown you that everything is scheduled. If you want to schedule the job at 2 a.m. morning, so automatically control M will run that. It will schedule it, right? Okay. So in that case, suppose automatically at 2 a.m. the job is scheduled and it starts running. And still at 2, the file is not downloaded completely. So in that case, what will happen? Any idea, guys, what will happen?
Data would be data would be missing.
Yeah. Any thought? Sandeep, what do you think?
I think it will not load the data for that file.
Now, see, there
Because
are two possibilities for this. Either
okay,
the date, the either the job will fail and it will show the error message that the file is not present because still the file is downloading.
yeah, file is not there in that place.
File is not present at
Yeah.
the location. First scenario. Second scenario is that what all data has been received so far in the file, only those records will be loaded. Okay. So you should check. So always the developers, when you are creating your job, so you must schedule it. You should give some buffer. Buffer in the sense, suppose if your business has told you that by 2 a.m. morning, we will send you all the source file, then at what time you should run the job?
4 a.m. like that.
You should keep some buffer of 1 hour, 2 hour, or something like that.
Yeah.
It should not be like the business has told that 2 a.m. morning we will send you all the files and immediately at 2 a.m. you're running it. No, you should keep some buffer. Okay, and in interviews you will get this question that if same question that if you're receiving the source file at 4 a.m. okay, at what time you will schedule your job to run. Okay, so you should tell this reason that we must give some buffer at least 1 hour or 2 hours, something like that. Then they will ask you that why you want to give the buffer. So you have to tell this justification, okay, that these all things can happen. That's why we should keep some buffer and then the job should run after that. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now I want to discuss this full load validation, incremental load, truncate load, and the history load. Very, very, very important concepts. Please try to understand this. But before that, take the example of this file only. This is a good file, the good example we have. Okay. So suppose a particular organization, they were having this source file and they are working on this. Okay. They were doing all the calculations on this Excel sheet only. Fine. Then they thought that, okay, let's move to the ETL project and automate all these things. Okay. They decided, okay, fine, we'll automate all the things and everything will be automated. Fine. Now, suppose, let me take the same record from here. Suppose this is 18th March. Suppose on 18th March, your project is going on ETL mode, that you have decided that everything you want to automate and you have implemented your project in ETL fashion. Okay, that is done. So now you don't have to do anything manually, everything will be automated. Okay, from 18th March onwards. Fine. And in your Excel sheet, this all data are present as per the earlier or the historical transactions, what all has happened. This is present in this Excel sheet. Fine. 18th March, you suppose you have received this data. This is the transaction happened in your business. Okay. Now, my question is, this is the data for you, right? For 18th March. What you will do with this data on 18th March? You will send this in source file to the ETL team, right? And then if everything looks good, your ETL team, they will load the data in the stage layer database, right? This happens, correct? Okay. Now suppose this data is loaded in your stage table. Okay. Now in your stage table, how many records you have?
One record.
One record, right? Okay. What about these records? Will you not load these records in your table? Is this not required? Yes or no?
It is required.
Yeah,
Yes.
required.
It is required. But why? This
Yeah.
is the old data, no? Why you want this
Yes.
data?
If you want to generate into reports, we need the history too.
Correct. Many a times when you want to generate reports, when you want to do analysis, so guys, always the analysis are done on the historical data. That is what your OLAP system, online analytical processing system. We will discuss that. What is OLAP? What is OLTP? What is the difference? Okay. So your analysis always or mostly, okay, that works on the historical data. Now, if you have loaded this data only in your database, so you have the daily data and this is known as transaction data. But if you have not loaded this data in your database, it means you have missed the historical data, right? And then your analysis and the analytical engine will not work. So that is why you will request your ETL team that, okay, please load the historical data as well. Then your ETL team will ask the question that, okay, how long historical data you want us to load? For 1 year, for 5 years, for 10 years, 15 years, or whatever it may be. Okay, so generally 10 to 15 years I have worked that we used to load data for 10 to 15 years. Okay, so that is known as historical load. If someone is asking you what is historical load, so historical load means all the previous year data, okay, which you want to load into your database so that you can do some good analysis. That is known as historical load. Okay, that again depends on the business. Your business is not interested in doing analysis of the data beyond 2010. So you should not load those data. Otherwise, you will give some incorrect result, incorrect numbers. So you should be very careful with the data, the load of data, the records and all those things. So this is known as historical load, guys. Okay. And the today's data which you have loaded, this is known as current load. Is this clear? Historical load and current load? Any
Yes.
question? And suppose on 19th March, let me change some number here, 0.25, 135, something like that I'm changing. Now this is the new data you have received on 19th March. So this data is a historical data or the current data?
Current data.
This is current data. Now,
Yeah.
18th, suppose today is 19th March. So 18th March data is historical data or what?
Yeah.
History.
Think carefully and then tell me, guys.
Historical.
Historical only.
Are you sure? See, this
It's
is
a previous
not,
record.
sorry.
Previous day record, right? Previous day record.
Okay.
If you are in 19th, it shows 18th record. It is a previous record, right? We said all history records are previous.
Okay. See, this is not historical data. Why? I will tell you the reason. First of all, tell me, is this data present in your database or not? Yes or no? Is it present
Yes,
in
it
your
is.
database?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's present. So always if someone is asking you historical data or current data, so you have to think from your database perspective. Now in your database, do you have this record? Yes, I have this record because on 18th of March, already we have loaded this data. So this is not a historical data for you. Okay. Now, when I asked you that this data, this is historical data, why I have told that this data are historical data? Because you were standing on 18th March and on 18th March, you have only this record in your database, correct? You are not having this record. So all these old records, so the previous day's record, the previous year's record will now be considered as historical data. Hope that is clear. So always think from your database perspective. Is that fine, guys?
Yeah.
So let's suppose this all data is in our database, like 10-year data is in our database. So that will be like historical data, no?
Shivanshu, can you repeat?
Let's suppose this all data is in our database.
Our
Okay.
database.
Yeah.
Then that will, okay. So suppose on 19th
Hmm.
March,
Hmm.
19th, suppose today is 19th March. So in your database, you have data of 18th March, correct? Plus you have all this historical data. So still this will be considered as historical data only. And how to load this data? There's different mechanism. You cannot use the same job which you are using to load the current data, to load the historical data. No, the jobs are totally different. The mechanism is different. You don't have to go in all those details that why the job is different and all these things, okay? But the process is different, guys, to load the historical data. And here the concept of data migration project comes into picture. How to do the testing, that will be different here, okay? And to test the current data, that will be different. Any question about this historical load and the current load? Okay, no questions. Now, what is incremental load? Let's try to understand this incremental load. Suppose on 20th March, 2022. Okay. Suppose on 20th March, I have received this source file from the source team. Okay, fine. Now here what they have done is they have sent me 3 records. First record, this is the second record, and this is the third record. Okay. I checked with them that why you have sent 3 records. They told me that the first record is showing you the transaction of 18th March. Okay. Second record is showing you the transaction of 19th March. Third record is showing you the transaction of 20th March. Okay, fine. Now my question is, if today is 20th March, I need the data of 18th March and 19th March. Is that required?
18th and 19th data is already present in database, right?
18th and 19th is already present in database, so that is not required. That is what Sandeep you want to tell, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other question? Any other thought, guys? See, many a times what will happen, your source team will send you the full data. Full data means they will add all the data of the previous days, like how I have shown you here. This is the data of 18th March. This is the data of 19th March. This is the data of 20th March. Okay. Now, suppose today is 21st March 2022. Now here, again, the source team, what they have done, they have sent you this record, and then they have sent you one more record. And suppose this is some new number 0.92, and let me change this number 0.88. We keep it 64. something randomly. I'm changing this number. Okay. Now on 21st March, I checked with the source team that why you have sent me 4 records. You can see 4 records are here, right? They told me that the first record is of 18th March, second record is of 19th March, third record is of 20th March, and the fourth record is of 21st March. Okay. So if you will analyze the data of 20th March and 21st March, so what is happening here? They are sending you the data of the current date plus all the previous dates. Am I correct?
Yeah.
If you see on 20th March, they have sent you the data of 18th March, 19th
19th.
March, and 20th March, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, on 21st March, they have sent you data of 18th March, 19th March, 20 March, and 21st March. They are sending you data in this fashion.
Yes.
So when your source team is sending you data of the current date plus all the previous date, then this is known as full load of data. They will not discuss that does this make sense or not. We will see all those things at a later point of time. But sometimes in many projects, your source team will send you data in this pattern. So this is known as full load of data. Any question?
So let's suppose our team is sending our data like 1 year previous. So so what we will call in that case?
1 year previous. No, I didn't get you, Shivanshu.
Like here we are getting data like of the previous date, right? 18, 19, 20,
See,
21.
all the previous days, if they are sending, suppose tomorrow is 22nd March, right? 22nd March 2022. We are standing here on this 22nd March 2022. Okay. So now if your source team are working in full load mode, so what they will do, they will send you data of 18th March, 19th March, 20 March, 21st March, and then one record for 22nd March as well. So this is the record of your 22nd March. This is the latest record. And these all are the old record. Okay. So this is known as your full load of data.
Okay.
Now again on 23rd March, they will send you all this data and the data of 23rd March. So this is known as full load, and this will goes on accumulating. Now yeah, question please.
If I'm getting the last month data as well, so will I call
Sorry,
as
your
full
voice
load
is
or
not
not?
audible clearly. Can you please close to the mic? Come close to the mic. Hello.
Let's suppose I'm getting data of the last month. Okay, so will it be called as full load?
That will call as full load. Yeah, it will goes on adding. That's what I'm
Okay.
telling you. It will, but full load, it means it is not like suppose on 23rd, suppose on 23rd March. Okay. They will send me the data, or suppose they have sent me the data on 20. Where is that? They send me some data. I'm taking some random data. Okay. They send me some data. And many other data are there.
Okay.
Many other records are there. And suppose this is the data of January 2022. Okay. So we will not tell that this is the full load. Full load means the next day data will be having the previous day data as well. Again, the consecutive days will be having the previous days as well. That is the full load. Understand the difference between full load and historical load. If they are giving the data of January 2022, that is historical load. 2021, that is historical. But full load means your all the previous days will also be there.
Okay.
Hope that is clear. Now this is known as, let me delete this, create confusion. So now this is known as full load. Now tell me what is the problem with this, or what is the benefit of this?
Problem is duplicate data. Again, we are loading the data previous dates, duplicates.
Okay. See, you are correct that Tanvir 18th March data is already present in our database. On 19th, on 20th, you are getting data of 18th and 19th, you are loading this again. That is a duplicate. Correct. You are totally correct. So you'll be having duplicate data. But who is sending you this duplicate data? Source team is sending, no?
Yeah.
Source team is sending this data on a daily basis, all the previous days data as well, right? Sometimes that is the what I can say constraint or the compulsion at the source team. Their system is designed in such a fashion, such a manner that they will send you all the previous days data as well. Okay, you cannot do anything. Maybe you can. This has happened with us. Okay, we told them that we want incremental data. Don't send all the previous days data as well. They replied that they have that mechanism in their system and that will pick all the data from that previous days as well. Okay. Now, as a ETL developer, you have to code in such a manner that the previous day's data should be truncated and then the new day data should be loaded. Suppose you are loading on 20th March, you want to load. So what you will do? First of all, you will delete all the data from your stage table. So all the previous days data will be deleted. Then you have to load this data, correct? So now in database, you'll be having data of 18th, 19th, and 20th March. Now next day, 21st March. On 21st March, now you have got data of 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. So before loading this file, what you have to do, you have to delete all the existing records in your stage table. And then you will load this data. Okay, and this is known as truncate load. Means first of all, you are truncating your table. You are deleting all the table data in your stage, and then you will load this data. So you have to load data in your table in this manner now. First of all, truncate it and then load it. And that is known as truncate and load. I think that is what I have mentioned here, truncate load validation. Is this clear? I will show you this with the help of this example. That is what I've created, this truncate load. Next class, I will show you this, that how it works.
Here I did not get what do you mean by truncate?
Truncate, yeah. So, okay. In the next class, no, I will show you with the help of this example. Okay, this is a term from SQL. Truncate means delete. Okay, so you will delete the table first of all. All the records will be deleted. And then the new set of record what you have received, that will be inserted into the table. So don't worry about this. In the next class, I will show you with an example, with the help of an example. I will take a file and I will show you that now we have full load data. So how your job will work and how you have to handle it. Because you guys are correct that what if we are getting to duplicate, if we are getting the same records on a daily basis in this full load. So if I will execute this and if I will load the data, so we will be having duplicate data. So to handle this, your source team is not agreeing on the incremental load. They are telling that we will send you full load only. So now you don't have any option but to tweak your code to work on the logic. And then how your logic will work is you have to truncate or delete the table and then load the new set of data. Again, next day, you will delete all the previous day's data and then you will load the new data. So it is like that it happens. I will show you examples in the next class with the help of a source file, and I will show you how this is happening. This is working there. Hope that is clear, guys. Any question?
Advantage of full load is like we can consider the late time entries too, right?
Can you please repeat what is full load? What you told?
Full load. The advantage of full load is like we can consider the late time entries in the database as well, right?
Correct. So in full load, what happens? No, I will teach you manual adjustment. Okay, so there I can tell you that what is the benefit of this. Okay, but for the time being, so what happens? No, let me tell you that. Okay. Suppose on 19th of March, you have, okay, first of all, is full load clear to everyone? First of all, is the definition of full load clear?
Yeah.
Everyone? Guys, these are very important. I'm repeating again and again. Okay, and don't think that if you're working in which profile, these are the generic terms of any ETL project. I'm not going in that specific or the very technical aspect of ETL. Okay, because I know we have audience from multiple backgrounds, multiple profiles, but these are the very generic concepts of ETL project. You should know all these things. So one of the benefit of full load is, suppose on 19th of March, you have received this data, you have loaded the number and you have shown on the report. Okay. And suppose this GDP number, this value, you have shown this on the report. Okay. And your business stakeholders are looking at this number and they told that, okay, this number is not correct. Okay. They told that this number should be something like this. Some different number, they told that they should be like this. Okay. You verified with the source team, correct? You will check with the source team. Source team told that, okay, yeah, that is correct. This should be the number. By mistake, we have given this number, or their calculation was wrong, or something has happened. A number of reasons they can give you. And they agreed that, yeah, this is the correct number. So now what they will do? They will rectify this data with this correct number, okay? And then in the next day, they will send you this number. Next day on 20th March, this is the 19th March data. Now you'll be having this number, correct? So now when you will load this entire set of new data, you will be having the corrected data in your database. So here you have a scope of doing adjustment in the numbers, and this is known as manual adjustment. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. So I think we are done for the day today. So this is the first week we have covered. So we are working on the extraction part, and I'm trying to cover each and every aspect of that. Okay. Full load, incremental load, truncate load. I will try to explain you with the help of an example, the source files and all those things. Control M, we have discussed a little bit. So from next week onwards, we will move to the staging layer, that once the data has been loaded in a staging, what all things you have to check, how you can do the data cleaning, what are the data cleaning activities, what are the basic validations required, if there's a duplicate, what you have to do, what are the functional checks you have to do. So we will see all those things in the staging layer, and then we'll move to the integration, the different transformation logics, some of the very famous transformation logics like slowly changing dimension and all those things. What happens in a data migration project? What happens if you're moving data from a legacy system to some new system or something like cloud system? Then structured and unstructured data and all those things. Okay. So I want you guys to please concentrate on the coming topic classes. They're very important from ETL perspective, and I will share assignment today. So please work on that and share with me. And I want you all to please share in this manner. Okay, in this manner. Okay, question and then your solution, and then highlight that. Then again the question, the options, and at the last mention your solution, highlight it in whatever color you want. Okay. So any question, guys? Final call. Any questions?
So class will be on Monday, na?
Next class will be on Monday, same time, 7 to 8. Okay.
You were sharing the assignments in the drive as well.
Yeah. Yesterday I have not shared because you are not having much concepts yesterday. Today I will prepare assignments and I will share on the drive. Okay, if you want, I will share on the group as well. Okay, not an issue. And I have uploaded the recording. Hope you all have received there in the drive.
So in the drive, the files are having the answers as well, like marked in the gray, like colors.
Oh, it was having answers as well. The assignment questions you are telling.
Assignment question and answers.
I will check that. Maybe if that is the case, I will check it. Thanks for highlighting that, Chetan. I will check it here. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, fine then. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your time. Let's meet again on Monday. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye, sir. Happy Holi.
Thank you. Bye. Happy Holi.
Happy.